All right, ready to dive into some Zen Buddhism?
Let's do it.
Today, we're taking on the Platform Sutra,
Oh, excellent
a
choice.
text so revered.
It really is.
It sits right alongside the Buddha's own words.
That's right. It's given that level of importance.
And you know what?
Yeah.
You specifically requested this deep dive.
I can't wait to see what we uncover.
Me too. Let's jump in.
Sounds good. You know, the Platform Sutra,
Yeah.
it isn't your typical sutra.
What do you mean?
It's not like filled with all those,
Rules.
rules or big pronouncements.
Ah,
It's more like, think of it as a collection of highlights
okay.
from the life and teachings of Hui-neng.
Hui-neng. And remind me, who is he again?
He's the Sixth Patriarch of Zen Buddhism.
Sixth Patriarch.
Yep, pretty important guy.
And this is what his greatest hits, basically.
Kinda, yeah. But compiled by his devoted followers, so we get their perspective too.
I see. So it's like a little more personal.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got Hui-neng, the sixth patriarch, but his story,
Yeah, what about it?
well, it's not your typical Zen master origin story, is it?
What makes you say that?
This is a guy who was born into poverty, right?
You're right, he was.
Couldn't read, couldn't write,
Nope, not a word.
spent his days chopping wood
Hard labor
just to, put food on the table.
to support his family. Exactly.
Not exactly the image that pops into your head when you hear Zen master.
You'd think of meditation, robes, scrolls.
Yeah.
Not exactly an axe and wood chips.
Right, but that's what makes his story and the Platform Sutra itself
Go on.
so interesting.
I agree.
It challenges everything we think we know about,
About.
where wisdom comes from.
It really does make you think. How often do we do that?
Do what?
Overlook someone's potential
Oh, I see what you mean.
because of their background or what we think they lack
Yeah, we make assumptions.
all the time.
Hui-neng's journey, though.
Yeah.
It forces us to confront those biases.
Head on. He doesn't let us off easy.
No, he doesn't. It's like we're wired to judge a book by its cover.
Are we?
And here comes Hui-neng.
This so-called jungle rat.
But something remarkable happens to him.
Tell me more.
He overhears something being chanted, a passage
A passage from.
from the Diamond Sutra,
Okay.
and it sparks something in him.
It ignites him, you could say.
Exactly. This thirst for enlightenment, for
Right.
something more.
It's like this switch flips,
Yes. And this one encounter,
changes everything.
his whole life takes a completely different direction.
It's incredible, isn't it, how these seemingly small moments can have such a huge impact.
It really is. So he decides to find this teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
He travels hundreds of miles.
Hundreds. Imagine that journey.
I know, right? To meet this guy, the fifth patriarch of Zen Buddhism,
Jen.
right, Hung-jen, who leads this whole community of monks, all seeking wisdom.
It was a pretty big deal.
So Hui-neng shows up,
Yeah.
this humble woodcutter,
Among all these learned monks,
and even Hung-jen,
known for his insight, right?
exactly, even he has his doubts.
Well, yeah. Can't blame him, can you? I mean, this
I
is...
know, right? This is unheard of.
It really was.
So what does Hung-jen say?
Well, he questions how someone from the backwoods, a jungle rat from Lingnan,
Jungle rat, wow.
yeah, that's what they called him.
Could even think about becoming a Buddha.
It's like those societal prejudices.
They just come right to the surface.
Exactly. But Hui-neng,
Yeah. What does he do?
he doesn't back down.
That's our guy.
He really is something. He responds with this really powerful statement.
Okay, hit me with it.
He says, people come from the north or south, not their Buddha nature.
Whoa, break that down for me.
He's basically saying, listen, my background might be different,
You're right.
but how can our inherent potential for enlightenment be any different?
I like that.
It's bold.
It really is. He's challenging Hung-jen's assumptions.
And maybe even hinting at his own deep understanding.
Talk about standing your ground.
Right. This is no ordinary woodcutter.
So we have this illiterate woodcutter.
Going toe-to-toe with the fifth patriarch.
What happens next?
Oh, things get really interesting.
I bet they do.
This is where it takes a turn. The fifth
Yeah.
patriarch. Well, he's nearing the end of his life, right?
Right,
And,
right.
And he needs to choose a successor.
Big decision.
Huge. So he decides to hold this Gatha contest.
Oh, what? A
Bah.
Gatha contest.
Yeah, a Gatha contest.
Is that like some ancient Buddhist rap battle?
Ah.
Dropping verses of wisdom and whatnot?
I mean, not quite.
Huh.
But I like the enthusiasm.
All right, so what is a Gatha then?
Basically, Gatha means verse or poem.
Okay, poems.
Yeah, so the fifth patriarch, he challenges his disciples
Joe.
to Write a poem that captures the essence of the Dharma.
Their understanding of enlightenment, all that.
Exactly.
Cool.
High stakes, right? Huge. Their future leadership.
All writing on a poem.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
So did anyone step up?
Oh, yeah. One of the head monks, Shen Su.
Okay, Shen Su.
He was like the front runner, you know.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Everyone thought he was the obvious choice.
So what did he write?
He posted his poem on the monastery wall for everyone to see.
Okay.
And it emphasized this gradual external process of purification.
Purification. Okay.
Read, the body is a Bodhi tree. The mind is like a standing mirror.
A mirror. I like that.
Right. Always try to keep it clean. Don't let it gather dust.
It's a beautiful metaphor.
It is, isn't it?
Constantly polishing the mirror of our minds.
Exactly. Trying to keep those thoughts pure.
But there's got to be a reason we're talking about Hui-neng's poem, right? Not Shen Su's.
You're sharp. You're picking up on something.
I have a feeling what was so groundbreaking about Hui-neng's verse.
Remember Hui-neng?
Yeah.
He couldn't read.
Oh, right. Totally forgot about that.
So he has another monk read Shen Su's poem out loud.
Okay.
And immediately he understands
Understands what?
its limitations.
The poem's limitations.
Yeah. See, Shen Su's verse,
Yeah.
it's well-intentioned and all,
Okay.
but it still clings to this idea of duality,
Duality, what do you mean?
like body and mind, pure and impure. It missed the core of what
Accurate.
Hui-neng somehow already understood.
So what did Hui-neng's poem say?
How did this woodcutter
I know. He couldn't even read.
exactly challenge the understanding of a seasoned monk?
Lay it on me.
Okay, so Hui-neng, he composes his own gatha.
What did it say?
The mind is the Bodhi tree. The body is the mirror stand.
Okay, I'm listening. Keep going.
The mirror itself is so clean,
Yeah.
dust has no place to land.
Whoa. Okay, I see the imagery is different,
Right.
but what's the deeper meaning here?
So Shen Su,
Yeah.
he focused on actively cleaning the mirror, right?
Right. Constantly polishing.
Like the mind is initially impure.
And we need to work to keep it clean.
Yes. But Hui-neng,
Yeah.
he cuts right to the chase.
Yeah. How so?
He's saying the mind, in its essence,
Yeah.
it's already pure.
Well,
There's no dust to wipe away.
because
The very nature of the mind is like this spotless mirror.
that is a huge shift in perspective.
Right.
So Hui-neng, this woodcutter, he just challenged centuries of Buddhist teachings.
About striving for purification.
He's basically saying, we're already enlightened.
We just need to realize it.
The fifth patriarch had to have been floored.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But imagine
Well-
publicly acknowledging this jungle rat as his successor.
That's got to cause some problems.
You could say that.
So Hui-neng just threw down the mic with his gatha.
Right. Drop that truth bomb.
And the fifth patriarch is sitting there like, this guy, this woodcutter, he gets it. But how do I handle this?
It's like, talk about a rock in a hard place, right?
Total dilemma. It shows you, though,
What's that?
that even in these ancient lineages, these spiritual traditions,
Yeah.
there's still that human element.
Oh, absolutely. It's always there, isn't it?
Always. Imagine, right?
Hmm.
If Hongzhen, the fifth patriarch, had just been like, okay, everyone, this is my successor, this guy who just showed up,
The whispers, the drama,
the monks would be in an uproar.
it'd be like throwing a match on a pile of dry leaves.
So what does he do? How do you navigate that?
Well, tradition, it's important.
Right. But so is recognizing true wisdom.
Exactly. And sometimes that wisdom...
And it doesn't come dressed how you expect?
Nope. So under the cover of night.
Wait, really? He makes it this whole secret thing?
Oh yeah, Hongzhen secretly transmits the Dharma to Hui-neng.
The robe, the bowl, all that.
The whole shebang. He passes on the lineage, but then
There's a but coming. I can feel it.
he tells Hui-neng, get out of here.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
He's like, you're the chosen one. Now scram.
Basically, he's like, this is serious, dude. If you stick around, you're in danger.
So much for a peaceful transition of power.
Right. More like, take the wisdom and run.
That's wild. He tells the future of Zen Buddhism to hit the road.
15 years, he's on the run.
15 years.
15. Imagine being Hui-neng in that moment.
It's like, talk about pressure. You've got this incredible lineage.
Just the weight of all those teachings.
And you have to disappear, lay low.
He had to trust his instincts,
It makes you wonder, how do you stay true to your purpose?
Yeah, when life throws you those curveballs.
When you're forced into hiding or silence.
Hui-neng, though, he finally emerges.
Okay, what happens? Does he come out swinging?
No, not at all. He goes to this place, Tafan Temple.
A fan temple. Okay. Is it like this big, important monastery?
No, it's actually pretty modest.
Interesting. He doesn't go for the spotlight.
Nope. He just starts teaching.
Keeping it low-key.
But word gets out,
Yeah.
People start to hear about this guy, this teacher.
This unassuming guy just quietly dropping wisdom.
People are drawn to it,
What was it about his teachings, though?
They were straightforward, He could explain these really complex ideas.
Yeah, but in a way that just clicked.
Exactly. And he emphasized direct experience.
Not rituals.
No, he wasn't about all that pomp and ceremony.
So who was drawn to this approach?
Everyone. Villagers, government officials, scholars, even other Buddhist monks, they were intrigued.
So what was at the core of Hui-neng's message? What was he all about?
3 words. See your nature.
See your nature. So, like, go for a hike.
Not quite. He wasn't talking about literal nature, although I'm sure he appreciated a good tree.
Right, of course.
He was talking about something deeper, something inherent in all of us.
Our Buddha nature.
Exactly. That inherent purity, that potential for enlightenment that we all have.
But how do we do that? How do we actually see our nature? Life gets busy,
It's about tuning out the noise.
Quieting the mind.
He called it no thought.
Yeah.
But it's not about emptying your mind completely.
Right, because then you'd just be sitting there like a blank slate.
Exactly. It's more about freeing yourself from those thoughts that just keep spinning around.
The judgments, the anxieties.
All those attachments that cloud our perception.
So being present.
You got it. It's like watching a river flow.
Okay. I like that. Go on.
Those thoughts, they're like the water. They come and go.
But we don't have to get swept away by them.
Exactly. We can observe them without letting them control us.
That's a powerful idea.
It is, isn't it? And it's not just a Buddhist idea either. Lots of spiritual traditions talk about this.
Finding that stillness within.
That's where the real wisdom is.
It makes you think, how often are we striving for something?
Chasing after happiness.
When maybe, just maybe,
It's already here.
we just need to be quiet enough to recognize it.
Hui-neng's message, it's a message of empowerment.
How so?
He's saying, you don't need anything external to find enlightenment.
You don't have to be a scholar or a monk or anything.
It's already within you. Powerful stuff.
Really powerful. But let's talk about that whole lineage thing.
What about it?
He inherited it, even in secret.
The robe? The bowl?
That comes with some baggage, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You know how it is, even in spiritual groups.
People disagree, different interpretations.
Oh.
So does everyone just embrace Hui-neng's teachings? Was that the end of the drama?
Not quite. You see, his teachings, they were radical.
How so?
They challenged the status quo and that kind of thing. Well,
It ruffles some feathers.
you can say that.
Yeah.
So even though he spent 15 years in hiding,
The controversy, it still found him.
it's like they say, you can run, but you can't hide.
And it goes to show, enlightenment or not.
We're all human.
We're all a work in progress.
Exactly. And, disagreements, different viewpoints.
It's bound to happen, right?
Especially when you're dealing with deeply held beliefs,
Absolutely. But let's get back to Hui-neng. He's got this growing following. He's facing controversy.
And fallen.
It's all getting woven into this text.
The Platform Sutra.
That will become a cornerstone of Zen Buddhism.
It's amazing how it all came together.
So tell me more about that. What's the significance of the Platform Sutra itself?
Well, Hui-neng, he knows his time is limited,
Okay.
and he wants to make sure his teachings are passed down accurately.
It's like his legacy.
Exactly. He knew those physical objects, the robe and bowl.
They caused problems, didn't they?
There were points of contention, for sure. So he emphasizes something else entirely.
What's that?
Direct experience.
It's over blind faith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He wanted his followers to realize the truth for themselves.
So instead of physical objects,
He focuses on a different kind of transmission.
which is,
Remember those words he said?
remind me.
He told his disciples, the Dharma has already been given. You don't need to ask for it.
Powerful stuff.
Right. He knew true transmission wasn't about some object, but a mind-to-mind connection, a direct experience.
That's a lot harder to pin down, though, right? How do you make sure that happens? Especially with something as, I don't know, almost mystical sounding as see your nature? How do you teach that in a way that lasts?
And that's exactly where the Platform Sutra comes in.
It's like the instructions.
The guidebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's Hui-neng's way of making sure his teachings are understood, even when he's not around to explain them.
So he's laying it all out there.
He gives his disciples these very specific instructions, like he tells them, begin with the teaching of the 3 classifications and make use of the 36 pairs.
Whoa, hold on, slow down. The 3 classifications, the 36 pairs.
Yeah, it sounds a little complicated.
A little. That sounds like a whole lot to unpack.
It is, but stick with me.
I'm trying. What do they even mean?
Okay, so the 3 classifications, they're all about understanding how we perceive reality.
Okay.
How our senses, our thoughts, our judgments, they all come together to create our experience.
So it's about how we see the world.
Exactly. And then the 36 pairs, they're tools for breaking down those dualities we cling to.
Dualities? Like what?
You know, good and bad, right and wrong, self and other.
I see. We get stuck in those.
All the time. Hui-neng's saying, let's look at those, deconstruct them, see if maybe there's a different way.
So it's not just about reading the Platform Sutra, is it?
Definitely not. It's about using it as a springboard for your own practice.
Your own insights,
Yeah.
your own seeing your nature moments.
Exactly. And Hui-neng, throughout the whole sutra, he keeps hammering this point home. Personal responsibility. He tells his followers, each of you must practice yourselves. The Dharma won't do it for you.
No shortcuts.
Nope. It takes work. It takes commitment.
It's a message that's still relevant today.
Absolutely. You can't just read about enlightenment. You have to live it.
You have to put in the effort.
And, you know, Hui-neng, he doesn't sugarcoat it.
What do you mean?
He acknowledges that life is tough, there's suffering, there are challenges.
Well, he doesn't shy away from that.
Not at all. But he also says that within those challenges, within those difficult moments,
There's still potential.
for growth, for awakening, for seeing our nature.
It's like he's saying, yeah, life is messy, but that's okay. That's where the real work begins.
And it's not about becoming emotionless or ignoring those difficulties. It's about meeting them with that same stillness, that same clarity we've been talking about.
It makes you think about his own story, right? This woodcutter facing prejudice, going into hiding, all these obstacles.
And yet, he never loses sight of his purpose.
Of sharing this wisdom, this message of inherent enlightenment.
And think about how his words, those teachings,
Captured in the Platform Sutra.
they're still resonating centuries later.
Still challenging us to look inward, to question our assumptions.
And to realize that potential, that Buddha nature, it's already within us.
We just have to do the work to uncover it.
And on that note,
That feels like a perfect place to wrap up our deep dive into the Platform Sutra. Thanks for taking this journey with us.